Hey, what's up YouTube? I want to make a video on how to replace the O-ring on a steering cable for a Kawasaki JetSki, like a 650 SX, 750, probably a 550. Probably a lot of others have the same design. So the tools you're going to need are an 1/16", 1/16", 3/4 inch drive socket. I found this at Napa. That was the only place I could find it. All the other parts stores only had it in 1/2 inch drive. I got this piece of 3/4 inch hollow square tubing from Home Depot. It was like $17 for the square tubing, 20 bucks for the socket. The idea is that, you know, you slide the the socket and the square tubing over your steering cable rod, and then you can get the nut off. It's going to be tough to get a wrench in there, so yeah, you just slide this tubing over the rod, and then you can use like a 3/4 inch wrench or a 19 mil wrench to break the nut free. Once you have the nut free, I'll kind of show you what's up in here. So once you have the nut free, what you want to do is I'm not going to pull my rod out because I already have it all ready to go back in, but you pull the rod out. You're going to have like a 1/2 moon piece here, this 1/2 moon piece, a washer, and then the O-ring sits in like a seat inside that brass piece. So mine didn't have an O-ring, so my seat was really dirty. So what I had to do was I pulled the rod out, took off the 1/2 moon piece, took off the washer, and then I slid the cable back in toward the engine compartment. What the thing was is I slid it in too far, and then what happens is the end of the cable here, this threaded piece will go over a step inside here, and then it'll be kind of stuck, and it won't want to go back through the other way after you're done cleaning. So you push the rod through. Take your 1/2 moon clip and your washer off. You push the rod back into the hole enough where you can take a pick or Scotch-Brite or whatever you need to clean out the seat really good, because mine had like some calcium sediment stuff on there because there was no O-ring in there, and so that would have kept the O-ring from fully seating in there. So the key is you don't want to push the rod in too far. Just push the rod in where the thread, these threads are just inside these threads, and then you can clean out your seat. Then you push your rod back out. Then you put put some grease in the seat. Put your 11 millimeter by 2.5 millimeter O-ring in there, and then you can come in with your washer and your 1/2 moon clip. And then, as you can see, like, I was able to push the rod back in. So right now the O-ring is seated behind this washer, and then this clip kind of retains everything. So I was happy to do that because I didn't know if the O-ring was like kind of too fat where I'd have to use the nut to get it in there, but I was able to push it in by hand. So now I know everything is seated, and I can go ahead and put the nut back on. And then the part number at Napa for the O-ring is 7272608. Times 1 is just the quantity. On the Partzilla website, when you go to look at the O-ring, it says 670A, and then you scroll down, and then that shows you it's an 11 millimeter O-ring. But then below it, there's just the 670, which is an 8 millimeter O-ring, which is this part number. You don't need that 8 millimeter O-ring. You just need the 11 millimeter O-ring. So that's why I wanted to make this video, because I was a little bit unclear on, like, maybe I was supposed to use this one. I wasn't really clear where the O-ring goes, but that 11 millimeter O-ring goes in the seat of the brass piece in the hole, and then you got your washer that pushes that O-ring in, and then the 1/2 moon C-clip, and then the nut. So it's like really simple. And yeah, so here I'll just go ahead and like thread the nut on now, so that way you can kind of see, yeah, so that's pretty much it. Like the brass piece, O-ring, washer, half moon clip. And then if I can maneuver this nut up in here somehow. Yeah, then the nut goes on. But you want to make sure not to like cross thread this thing, you know. But anyway, you get the gist of it. So that's pretty much it.